Hi, we've got Rosh Pillay, Rashanta Pillay in on the chat, and she is fascinating because she's very into yoga. So tell tell us all about what type of yoga you're doing and why is it important for our community.
Hi, Rosh Pillay. Thank you so much for having me on your show and your chat. So, yoga is why is it important? Well, the breath is very important, and what I focus and teach mainly is Shri Shri Yoga, which really focuses on the breath. And
What was the name
most
of that,
people
Rosh? What was the name?
Shri Shri Yoga, Shri Shri. So SRI. You can Google it or you can find out a bit more about it. But I also I have a site and it's called roshyoga.com. So ROSH Rosh Yoga YOGA.com. So you're more than welcome to have a look at that. So what do I specialize in? I teach, normal hatha yoga, and it's basically not just the asanas or the positions, but it's really all about the breath. So for us, it's very much trying to align the positions that you're doing or the asanas that you're doing with your breath. And you'll find that a lot of yoga students, when they first come to class, they focus so much on the position and the asana. Asana is the position basically, that they're not really breathing. But as you go deeper into your yoga sessions and you learn a little bit more about how to do it, you start to breathe a bit better and you kind of understand how to do it. So it's all about the flow. It's the flow of your breath and your body. And yoga is really the union of your body, your soul, and your mind. So that's a big part of what I do. One of my offerings and one of my passions, really. And the other thing is the breath and meditation workshops. So the breath and meditation workshops again is all about the breath, and it does incorporate meditation as well. And that workshop is particularly from the art of living. And so I learned the techniques with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, who it's called the sky techniques. I've been practicing that for quite some time and also teaching that for quite some time. So in terms like when you look at today's society, right, I think some of the stats says that 1 in 5 people actually suffer from anxiety. And so one of the key things that I think that not only helps people is not only nature, but also practicing a bit of yoga, meditation, walking in nature, whether you walk or run or swim or whatever you do, because nature at the end of the day really helps you to balance yourself. And if you look at ourselves, we're really we're aligned with nature in many ways.
I think a couple of things related to me. I remember the only time I remembered about breathing techniques is when you need to give birth.
That's true. That's very, very true. Yeah, that's very true.
I definitely
Yes.
need it much earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely helps when you're giving birth, that's for sure, because I'm a prenatal yoga teacher as well and a postnatal one. And people will definitely tell you that, when they do yoga, or having done yoga actually really helps them through the birthing process. So, but you're right. The whole birthing process is very much all about the breath. And realistically, Rosh, the first thing you do when you come out is you take a breath, right? And the last thing we do is also take, the breath goes out. So, and life is what we have in between that first breath and the last breath. So
That's
it
right.
really is, yeah, it really is
Another
all
thing
about
that
the breath.
another thing that just comes to mind is the lungs. How the trees have lungs. We all have a
Yeah.
little lung.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally couldn't agree more. And it's so funny you say that because a lot of people, when I ask them to breathe, they breathe from their chest. So, but when you're learning the yogic breath, it's actually all with your tummy. So if you ever watch a child breathe, a child's tummy will go up and down and up and down. And that is actually the correct way to breathe. So when you're breathing in, your tummy actually expands, and when you're breathing out, your tummy contracts and relaxes, which is very, most adults and me included, when you just breathing, sometimes you don't really focus and think about it like that. But when you do start remembering how to do the yogic breath, it helps you and it actually expands your lung capacity. Because most people today will probably only use it, they'll probably only use, I think, 30% of their lung capacity.
Isn't
And
that
your lungs are as, yeah, 30% is nothing, right? It's very little. And you know, we say you only generally notice your breath or your lungs or whatever it is when you're running for a train or you're running up the stairs or you're running to catch your children or whatever it is at the end of the day, because we don't, you know, we don't notice our breath until we're actually doing something. But your breath is so significant because it, you know, it really also um, kind of aligns with every emotion. So when you're sad, your breath is different to when you're happy. You know, and you know, when you're happy, you don't really feel your breath. But when you're sad, it's kind of quite shallow, and you can sense it, right? The energy is different.
so? Some of the Olympic athletes, they would have had to have this kind of training, wouldn't they?
Absolutely, totally. So, sporting individuals or athletes or teams always are very big on breath work. You know, a lot of them, a lot of athletes today actually meditate. And you know, meditation, a lot of people say to me, oh, Rosh, I can't meditate. And meditation is not about sitting there quietly. It's really just about letting the mind go. It's effortless. And so you just literally let the mind go. So you try not to think. And even if thoughts come, c'est la vie, such is life. Let it come. Let it come, let it go. Whatever comes, you know, comes through. And you'll find over, you know, various sessions as you go through and meditate, you'll find that there comes a time where you won't even notice it. You won't even notice those thoughts anymore because your body and your mind will just get used to it. But
How
you're
about
so
the
right,
office
Rosh.
worker? How about the office worker? They have very little time.
Oh
They need
yes,
to, do you have
yes,
some
yes,
tips?
yes. Yes, so I actually work in the corporate world, and so I do like a few sessions for the company that I work for as well. And so yes, I always say to them, you know, don't sit for long periods of time. Try and take some time out, and you know, just do some like shoulder um, rotations or some neck rotations, or you know, having a look on the right hand side or the left hand side, like just some simple rotations. And then if you really, you know how sometimes someone can send you a nasty email or an annoying email or something, don't respond straight away because that's just your emotions. So try and just take 2 steps back, breathe, and then respond and get the emotion out, because the emotion is what sometimes drives you. But the emotion doesn't necessarily always give you the best results. And so it's always good to take 2 steps back and then kind of reevaluate the situation. So yeah, I do meditation at work for the company that I work for, and the people love it because you know it's just, we only do like a 5 to 7 minute meditation and you feel so much more relaxed afterwards. And I also encourage people to always do a nature walk, or you know, after lunch, before lunch. And I always encourage people to, even like before breakfast, you know, if you're doing some sort of cardio, do that and then come back home and do a little meditation for yourself. And all it is just sitting quietly and just eyes closed and just relaxing the body and the mind.
What
That's
about
really
kids?
what it
Do you
is.
have any techniques for the children?
Yeah, we do. We have lots of techniques for the children. So the Art of Living actually has some beautiful courses for the children, and it involves teaching them meditation as well, and teaching them about the breath, um, and then teaching them to be a little bit calmer, and teaching them lots of activities that help them with their everyday routines. So yeah, so there's a lot of courses that we have through the Art of Living that actually is focused for children. So and very similarly, you know, it's nature based. It's generally you know, trying to ground them. at the end of the day.
That is wonderful. Do you have any final words or for our audiences, how they can contact you in Sydney? And are you on Zoom as well? Do you do online
Yes,
sessions?
I am online as well, and your audiences are more than welcome to call me or contact me on roshyoga.com. So it's roshyoga.com, and all my details are on that. So you're more than welcome to contact me through that.
That's fascinating how yoga can help in the corporate world, can help children, mothers, parents, anyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I see it with prenatal and postnatal. It helps so much. It really does.
And what about in the
It
Sydney traffic? How can we do with a yoga?
Oh, the Sydney traffic. I always say to people, I mean, I myself have been driving quite a little bit now because I'm based locally, but the reality is I haven't been driving that much of that greater distance for a while. But recently I've had to, and I have to tell you, Sydney traffic's definitely gotten worse. So for me, I just the breath, just the breathing, because you can't, or listening to something soothing.
And where
I
are you
always say that.
originally from, Rosh? Where you sound
Where
like
am I originally from? So I have Indian origin. I was born in South Africa and I was raised here in Australia. Grew up in Sydney pretty much, but I also lived and worked in the UK for a while, and the States, and kind of worked abroad. But Sydney's home because I grew up here, and my mum and dad are here, my brothers and their families. So yeah, so
home is where
Sydney's
your heart
home for
is.
me.
Yeah.
Home is where your heart is. Absolutely, Rosh. Home is where your heart is. Yeah,
And what about our
totally.
pets? Can we give a bit of yoga to our pets?
So with the pets, with the breathing exercises, I think the best thing for pets is really taking them for a walk. And I know that dogs get quite anxious because my brother's dog gets a little bit of anxiety. And so I think the best thing for them is really to take them for a walk, and to give them some love and, companionship. So they really just need that. And once you do that, you'll find that they're less anxious. But it's all about spending more time with them and also spending time with them in nature, because that really helps them. Because nature, the effects of nature, and why we say that so much is because nature actually balances you.
Do you
And
have any
so,
recommendations of really good quiet places in nature in Sydney?
well, I live in the Cronulla area, which I love. So, I think anywhere near the water, or the park, or any kind of sea, if you have a seaside area or lakes or rivers, because water is very healing. And anything green, greenery is also very healing. So, and you'll find, I often touch a tree, or even hug a tree, which may sound funny, but a tree really grounds you. So, because it's earth, so it's Mother Nature. So Mother Nature generally just grounds you, and it brings you back to your state, your state of being, which is your natural state of being.
And I've heard of
And it doesn't.
yoga retreats. What are the good ones that you recommend?
There's lots of yoga retreats. I'm going to try and do some, and it depends actually, because I'll hopefully try and do some in the next few months. But there's lots of them out there, and if
Yeah,
you
even the
are
short term,
interested,
couple of weekdays of the weekend, those kind of short ones are really
yeah.
beneficial.
So to be honest with you, I haven't gone out to any of those retreats. But if you are interested in any of them, ping me, and I can have a look at them for you and give you some recommendations.
Great, that's fantastic. I'm sure our audiences really appreciate connecting with you. Thank you so much, Rosh, and
You're welcome.
enjoy.
Thank you so much, Rosh Pillay.
Yeah,
Take care, and
thank,
thank you for your audience listening to me as well.
so thank you, Rosh. Bye. Bye.
All the best. Bye.